Can Wagner save Niger's dictator general? Yes, I am talking about the Russian mercenary group, the one that fought in Ukraine, won Bakhmut for Russia, also led a mutiny against the Russian establishment. That mutiny failed, but there is a chance it can seal a victory for Niger's dictator general, Abdurrahman Ane Tchiani. This man, he declared himself the head of state on the 28th of July, less than 10 days after Niger's elected president was captured by the military there. This man, Mohamed Bazoum. Ever since things have only gone from bad to worse, Niger has been cut off from the regional bloc. Nigeria has cut off electricity supply to Niger. The people there are suffering, and there are talks of a possible military intervention. This, let me remind you, is a country where 4.3 million people already need humanitarian assistance. The dictator general is relentless in his pursuit of absolute power. What is the way forward in the face of growing international pressure? The military does not appear to know. It is banking on Wagner to turn things around. But can it? Now, there are some things you should know first. For example, what led to the coup? Niger, by the way, has seen 4 military coups since its independence. In the year 2021, when Bazoum was elected president, there was a coup attempt just 48 hours before his inauguration. And 2 years later, the military successfully managed to overturn the longest democratic rule in the former French colony. Many came out on the roads cheering, celebrating the coup, one that was blamed on rising insecurity. Let's just pull out a map for you. This is where Niger is located, at the heart of the Sahel region, an area where terror groups like the ISIS, the Al-Qaeda are rapidly expanding. In the pretext of fighting terror, several countries have sent troops to Niger in the last few years. France, for that matter, has around 1,500 troops in Niger. The US, over 1,000 troops across 2 bases. Italy has around 300 troops. The European Union has at least 100 troops in Niger. And yet, together, these troops have somehow failed to check extremism and terrorism. Attacks on Niger's villages have become the new normal, as they have across the rest of the Sahel region. Today, the military is justifying the coup by citing 3 things primarily. 1, like I mentioned, insecurity. 2, the lack of economic growth. And number 3, what the junta has referred to as the quote-unquote gradual and inevitable demise of the country, courtesy foreign troops and terrorism. Those cheering the coup, by the way, were heard chanting, "Wagner, Wagner." This was thousands of miles away from Russia or the front lines of the Ukraine war. What role could the Wagner possibly have in Africa, you wonder? Now, those who watch this show regularly already know the answer. The Wagner mercenary group has been a household name in the Sahel region for a while now. It won't be wrong to call Wagner the face of Russia's ambitions in the global south. Wagner, after all, provides security in Mali, even Burkina Faso. It is working closely with the government forces, occasionally trading its military support for lucrative contracts, especially in the diamond mining industry. And today, Wagner not just has private troops in the Sahel region, but also contractors and shell companies. And very interestingly, although expectedly, Wagner's popularity in the region has been inversely proportional to the growing anti-Western sentiment in Africa. In Mali, Wagner began its operation in the year 2021. Today, the group works closely with the ruling military junta. It reportedly charges $10 million every month for its service. People in Niger see Wagner's presence in Mali pretty positively. But do they want to replicate a similar junta Wagner engagement in Niger as well? The junta clearly does not mind. A night before Tchiani declared himself as the head of Niger, Pirogazin stuck his neck out. On the 27th of July, the Wagner chief, Yevgeny Prigozhin, bragged on Telegram. 1,000 Wagner fighters are able to restore order and destroy terrorists, preventing them from harming the civilian population. Yes, the man has re-emerged, unscathed from the failed mutiny, proud as ever, and now vowing to bring peace to Niger. On the 2nd of August, one of Niger's military generals reportedly visited Mali. This general, Salifo Modi, held meetings with the Wagner allied junta, and soon speculation grew of the possibility of a Wagner entry into Niger. And on the 5th of August, reports said during that visit to Mali, Niger's generals had actually asked Wagner for help. On the 7th, a Wagner-affiliated Telegram channel, in fact, said some 1,500 Wagner troops had been dispatched to Africa. Where to exactly is the immediate question. The group did not specify that. And then Prigozhin uploaded a message on Telegram. I'm quoting from it. "We are always on the side of the good, on the side of justice, and on the side of those who fight for their sovereignty and for the rights of their people." In other words, we are with the military junta of Niger. Whether or not we are already physically present in the country is none of your business. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is hell-bent on telling the world that the Wagner is not a force for good and that it is actually taking advantage of the situation in Niger. I'm quoting, "I think what happened and what continues to happen in Niger was not instigated by Russia or by Wagner, but they tried to take advantage of it." This is what Blinken told a British media network, adding, I'm quoting, "Every single place that this Wagner group has gone, death, destruction, and exploitation have followed." Now that's pretty rich coming from the US. Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, it's a long, long list and a story for another day. Anyway, this is where things stand as of now in Niger. The ECOWAS, or the Economic Community of West Africa States, had given a deadline for the junta to stand down and also restore the president, Bazoum. That deadline, by the way, expired on the 6th of August. Niger has now closed its airspace. Will ECOWAS intervene? And if yes, in what way? That decision will be taken at a meeting tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Wagner group seems to be the junta's best bet. The group has proven itself on the front lines of Ukraine. Militarily, Wagner will be able to guarantee power to the junta. It will also be the vehicle for Niger's junta to work even more closely with their counterparts in Mali, Burkina Faso, Russia. Via Wagner will also be happy to play the role of a protectorate. But here's the thing. Niger is not a Mali or a Burkina Faso. Western countries have spent millions on Niger's security. In Mali, when the Wagner troops marched in, the French military had to pack and leave. In Niger, the change of guard will not be so smooth. Wagner's entry can make Niger a flashpoint between the West and the Wagner. Many in Niger, in fact, are bracing for a fight. The military is looking to dig its heels deeper, and the people, well, does much really change for them? They have been suffering for long now. They have been colonized and oppressed by one force after another. First, it was the French, then the junta, and now it could be the Wagner group that becomes a global force at the cost of their suffering. And staying with Pakistan, the country's flag carrier is not the only one suffering. So is the country's politics. It is in a state of mess, to say the least. Pakistan's former Prime Minister, Imran Khan, has been jailed, and now it seems the current leaders are scared about their future as well. I am talking about Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, Pakistan's foreign minister. On the 7th of August, he spoke in the country's parliament about the ongoing political mess. He said he recently told the PMLN Supremo Nawaz Sharif that his party and government should take such decisions which make his future life and that of other young leaders like Maryam Nawaz easy and not difficult. He said the ways of the current leaders are outdated. They are still making political decisions the way they did some 30 years ago. Listen to this.
मेरा एक स्टेटमेंट था एक हफ्ते पहले शायद आज, जहां मैंने सदर जरदारी को और मियां नवाज शरीफ को अपील किया कि मियां साहब को और जरदारी साहब को ऐसे फैसले लेना चाहिए जिससे मेरे लिए और मरियम शरीफ साहिबा के लिए आगे जाके सियासत आसान हो, मुश्किल ना हो। और जिस तरीके से हम चल रहे हैं, ऐसे लगता है कि हमारे बड़ों ने फैसला किया है कि जो 30 साल आप लोगों ने सियासत भुगता है, वैसे ही आप चाहते हो कि आगे जाके 30 साल हम सियासत करें।
Well, you heard that. It seems they want us to function like they did. Now, what was he talking about? This Bilawal Bhutto did not reveal, but it does not take a genius to guess. By all means, he was referring to the arrest of Imran Khan. The fact that he has been convicted on a corruption charge, disqualified from running for office, and sentenced to prison for 3 years. Yes, the verdict may have been given by a court, but many believe it was given under pressure from the Pakistan government with an eye on the upcoming general elections. Elections which they are scared of losing because of the kind of popular support that Imran Khan and his party PTI enjoy. So was Bilawal Bhutto trying to assert that jailing Imran Khan is a mistake? That it sets the wrong precedent for the country's future leaders? Was he trying to say that this gives an excuse to the PTI to jail its opponents if it were to come to power? That this decision will only escalate the generational feud that the country's politicians have been fighting? You see, Pakistan has a history of rulers jailing their political opponents. And this, by the way, includes Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's father himself, Asif Ali Zardari. In February 2002, he was imprisoned over corruption charges. Interestingly, he was kept in the Attock Fort, a medieval fortress perched over the Indus River between Islamabad and Peshawar. This is the same place where Imran Khan is apparently being kept. And that's not even all. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was also incarcerated at this prison. This was in July 2000. When he was sentenced to 14 years of rigorous imprisonment. His brother, Shehbaz Sharif, has also been to this jail. So has Nawaz Sharif's elder son, Hussain Nawaz. They were all made to face accountability trials in this jail's premises. And now Imran Khan is in the very same prison. So when Bilawal Bhutto says that Pakistan cannot function the way it did 30 years back, he essentially is calling out the mistakes made by his predecessors, by his father's generation, by his seniors in the current administration. In a nutshell, he wants to save his future from the past. Almost every day we find a new reason to fear artificial intelligence. And here's another addition to that long list. AI, it seems, can steal your password. And it does not matter if you are using AI tech yourself or not. So how does this work? And should you be scared? What can you do to actually keep your passwords safe? Let's break it down for you bit by bit. Before I tell you more about it, let's just go back in time a little. It was the year 1956. The Suez Crisis was in its prime. The British spy master Peter Wright had a rather clever plan. He planted a bug in the cipher room of the Egyptian embassy in London. And that bug recorded the sounds of the typewriter keys on the Egyptians' cipher machines. It helped MI5 recover the Egyptians' secret key. And 67 years on, British researchers have come up with a modern version of this very technique. And this time, it's even simpler to crack the code because we have better technology. We have AI, artificial intelligence. The basic functioning is quite similar. The password stealer would first record the sounds of your keyboard as you type in your password, and then based on those sounds, artificial intelligence would decode what was typed. And just like that, your password would be stolen. How did the researchers do this? Is it really that simple to crack into someone's personal accounts? Let's see. Experts from Durham, Surrey and Royal Holloway universities developed this password stealer. First, they trained their AI model by pressing each of the 36 keys on a MacBook Pro. They did it not once or twice, but 25 times, and they recorded the sound. Each key, you see, has a unique audio or voice sound. It can be used to identify which alphabet or character is being pressed. And the information was then fed into the AI. All this data was enough for the artificial intelligence to identify the pattern. And then the experts placed an iPhone about 17 centimeters away from the same MacBook and recorded the typing. The AI was able to catch the password with 95% accuracy. And when the researchers recorded the typing over a Zoom call, the accuracy was 93%. However, the AI system does not work the same way for every keyboard. The model must be trained separately for each keyboard. It needs additional references to understand what character each keystroke corresponds to. But the basic method remains the same. So it's not very difficult to train AI for separate keyboards. Apple users are already at risk now. With their simple device, the experts have proved how vulnerable our data is in the age of AI. And with the development of artificial intelligence, we have become a lot more prone to cyber attacks. Just think of the times you use your phone or laptop in public spaces, working at a cafe, at an airport, typing away all your passwords. And why just passwords? Even personal texts as you chat with a friend. Criminals and spies can record your typing and decode it. Even applications on your devices may do this. Think of all those apps that you use that use your microphone. The apps that use your microphone. Do you realize how proliferated our lives are with mics? So the question is, what can you do to protect your password? Here are some simple ways. Number one being, use strong and complex passwords. That's basic. Include multiple cases, characters, numbers. It becomes difficult for AI to decode such passwords. Large language models like ChatGPT, in fact, can predict succeeding characters to complete words. So if your password contains full words, it is at a higher risk of being cracked. So avoid using complete words. Number two, use biometrics. Instead of using a passcode or a password, stick to Touch ID or Face ID wherever possible. You will not have to type out anything and you will be safe from an AI cyber attack. Number three, turn off your keypad sound. While you cannot do much for a laptop, you can silence the keypads of your mobile devices. Since nobody would be able to record you typing, your password would be safer. Experts also suggest, by the way, that Apple should consider adding random noises into keystrokes, and this would ward off side channel attacks. For those unversed, side channel attacks get signals from a device using acoustics, power consumption, and electromagnetic waves. But my question is, how many precautionary measures can you possibly take? We will come up with a solution and then AI can still outsmart us. You know, be it our jobs, internet browsing, dating, religion, passwords, artificial intelligence seems to be invading all domains and areas. And this needs to end somewhere. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.